The grass is as tall as your waist, and something is moving through it toward you. You see its head first, close to 3 meters off the ground on a very long neck. The skull is as long as your whole arm. It stops, turns one eye on you sideways, the way a chicken does. For half a second, the resemblance is almost funny. Then it takes a step, and you feel the weight of it shake through the ground. Put this animal beside an ostrich, the tallest bird walking the earth today, and you'll see a resemblance. The same long legs and neck, lifting a head built for an entirely different purpose. An ostrich eats seeds and bolts from trouble, but this ancient one came looking for it instead. We call the whole family terror birds, and that name isn't an exaggeration. They were not all giants. The family existed for close to 60 million years and produced everything from birds no bigger than a chicken up to the giant of the line, Kelenken. The very first one ever named got mistaken for something else. In 1887, the Argentine naturalist Florentino Ameghino described a broken jaw and grouped it among toothless mammals. It took years to recognize that the jaw had belonged to a bird, flightless and meat-eating, taller than the man who was holding it. For a long time, these giants stayed half-imagined, pieced together from a leg here and a fragment there. That ended in 2006 in the Patagonian Badlands of southern Argentina. A high school student turned up a nearly complete skull, and it belonged to Kelenken. 71 centimeters of bone, the largest head of any bird that has ever lived. At the front, there was a hooked beak shaped like the curve of an ice axe. A second skeleton, 4 years later, told us more than any find before it. Pulled from an Argentine sea cliff, it came out almost whole. 90% of the bird, down to the voice box and the thread-like bones inside the ear. For the first time, we could ask what a terror bird actually heard. The answer was low. Its hearing was in the deep register, where a small animal's footstep travels through the ground rather than the air. The same inner ear was wired for snapping the head around at high speed. A predator that found its prey by listening for it, then locked on the instant it moved. If it heard in that low range, it most likely called in it too. A deep sound rolling out under the grass, pitched below much of what we'd even know as a bird. These flightless birds were running birds. Their leg was long and lifted up onto the toes, the way a sprinter loads onto the ball of their foot, the whole limb geared for speed. Exactly how fast is something we still argue over. One estimate for a close cousin runs near 60 miles an hour, which most who study these birds think is too generous. Quick enough, either way, a rat or a young hoofed animal caught in the open could not outrun them. Researchers scanned the skull of a smaller relative and stress-tested it inside a computer. The bite came back weak, somewhere around the force of a large fox. The skull had a flaw as well. It could drive force straight down without trouble, but buckled under sideways load. Grab something that thrashed hard enough, and the beak risked snapping in half. So how does a bird with a fox's bite earn a name like terror? Through its strike. The skull was stiffened front to back into a rigid spear, and the heavy neck was muscled for one motion above all others. Raise the head high, then drive it straight down, beak first, the hooked tip doing the work of a pickaxe. Land the blow, pull back, then drive in again. A hunter built around precision, going after prey it could put down before that prey ever got the chance to fight back. The smaller members of the family may have skipped the strike entirely. Ameghino, again, once described fossil lumps the size of a fist stuffed with the crushed bones of rodents. Giant pellets, by the look of them, the droppings of a bird that swallowed its prey whole and brought the bones back up the way an owl does. The originals were lost before anyone could confirm it, though later pellets tied to terror birds have surfaced since. It could afford to specialize, because it had a whole continent to itself. For most of 40 million years, South America was an island, cut off from everywhere else. No placental carnivore, no cat, and no dog had ever reached it. The predators that did exist were marsupial cousins and a lineage of land-running crocodile kin. Into the empty space at the top, the birds climbed. A bird as the apex land predator of a continent, holding that throne for a stretch of time longer than primates have existed anywhere on Earth. Then the continent stopped being an island. The Isthmus of Panama rose out of the sea and bolted together two worlds that had spent tens of millions of years evolving apart. Animals streamed across the new land in both directions, and one terror bird turned up on the far side. Titanus walleri, its bones scattered through Florida and Texas, the only member of the family ever confirmed outside South America and one of the last to survive anywhere. For decades, it was drawn with arms, little clawed hands folded at the front, a fantasy that crept onto old museum boards. The real Titanus carried the same stubby, useless wings as every other bird in the family. The old story said the land bridge was what got them killed. That the crossing which let Titanus walk north let the northern hunters walk south. Cats with longer teeth and dogs that ran in packs, and that these newcomers simply out-hunted the birds and took their ground. It's a good story, but it's been falling apart for years. The terror birds were already thinning across South America before the mammals arrived. Titanus shared North America with saber-tooths for more than 1 million years and didn't change. Whatever ended them, being beaten by better mammals, does not survive scrutiny. What actually finished them is still open to debate. The climate was tilting, and the grasslands and the animals grazing them were turning over with it. Titanus, the last confirmed terror bird, drops out of the fossil record around 1.8 million years ago. This was long before the first human ever set foot in the Americas. No person ever hunted one or ran from one. They were gone well before there was anybody here to be terrified. There's a bird alive right now across the grasslands of Brazil and Argentina, about knee-high and sharp-eyed. It's called the Seriema, and it's the terror bird's closest living relative. When a Seriema catches a snake, it seizes the animal and beats it against the hard ground, over and over, until the spine gives way. The same downward blow, shrunk down to something a farmer keeps around the yard to deal with snakes. The terror bird that once stood 3 meters tall in the grass never fully disappeared. It only got small, and it's still out there, killing the one way its family has always known how.